So what would somebody expect if they come to a Toastmasters meeting when they first get started? Do they have to prepare for it? Is it a lot of work? Is it like taking an extra credit class? Or?
Well, you know, it's like a lot of things. It's whatever you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
But every Toastmaster meeting has 3 basic elements to do exactly the same thing worldwide. I can go to any club anywhere in the world, and I'll walk in. They'll treat me very fairly and honestly with a red carpet. Mm-hmm. They do that for any guest.
And you can drop in, right, to check it out?
Anywhere. I can go to China today and walk into a club and be just treated like I was a king or something. Mm-hmm. They really do that. So it's a big support system, but what's so important to realize is that whatever you put out there, whatever you want to do, whatever your particular goal is, if it's to be able to do a great interview, mm-hmm. there's a portion of the meeting that's called table topics. It's impromptu. Mm-hmm. So someone's going to ask a question, and this person has no idea that they're going to get called on, mm-hmm. no idea what the topic is, and get a chance to stand up before a group and speak about it for 2.5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, that's a portion. The other portion is evaluations. Next, after the regular speeches, someone comes prepared with a 5 to 7 minute presentation, and then some other person called an evaluator, the third portion of the meeting, stands up and gives them an oral evaluation about what they heard, what they felt, and what they think could be an improvement. One thing of improvement to make this better next time you give it.
Like being in school doing presentations.
It is like being in school. Mm-hmm. But an adult process is do it at your speed, mm-hmm. do it at your need, mm-hmm. and define your goal, mm-hmm. whatever that goal is. So we get a lot of people who are now all of a sudden saying, I'm in charge of my homeowner association.
Oh, yeah, right.
I haven't been behind the lectern and I've never led a meeting before. I don't even know the rules. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what to do. They show up at our Toastmaster Club saying, I need help.
Mm-hmm. Do you give them a guidebook? Is there a guidebook for Toastmasters that say, here are the key points that you should make sure that you do when you're doing a presentation?
Absolutely.
Or I know that what I found interesting when I dropped into one of the meetings was the ums. How many ums did this person have and that person? 7, 9. I found that very interesting, but you don't realize when you're doing that. But it's interesting to go to a meeting and then all of a sudden someone's going to point out to you that, do you realize
That's right.
how many times you said
Well, it's important because anything that takes away from the message.
And that does.
And it does. It will take away. Because if someone's listening, they're going, oh, wait a minute, it's too many. I can't even follow this person because of so many of those. That's not what they concentrate on. What they concentrate on is giving you feedback, honest to goodness feedback.
Right.
You can't help anybody if you're going to whitewash it and you're going to lie to them. They can't improve.
Right.
So the deal is, and that is a nurturing skill in that evaluation process, causes that person to have to listen very closely, watch all the gestures. Mm-hmm. Are they commensurate with what's going on? Do they agree with what's being said? Are the gestures appropriate at that time? And what other things are going on? So it's really behavior. It's not about the kind of speech they're giving, but if it's interfering with the presentation, that person needs to know about it. Absolutely. And in many cases they don't know. We had a fellow that came to our club who was, he wanted to get up and be a comedian. He wanted to go to the comedy club. So he was attending a class in Mooresville, in fact. He attended that class. And he came to me afterwards and said, I can't believe how much Toastmasters helped me. All these other people were afraid when they got on stage to start practicing. I was cool with it. Mm-hmm. Now he's one of the top performers in the entire country. Travels all over the United States.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if somebody wants to get involved in Toastmasters, I know we've got Toastmaster meetings on our website. There's a new chapter in Davidson that just started recently, and then there's the Lake Norman Toastmasters. Is there a website or something that gives the various meeting locations?
Yes, they can go to toastmasters-nc.org.
Okay.
Or they can contact me or contact our Lieutenant Governor of Education and Training, or our Lieutenant Governor of Marketing. I was talking to him this morning, and they have so many new clubs being started because of all the impetus. There's so much interest out there right now.
Well, and what you said, it makes a lot of sense. People are looking to get out there and get that job and stand out and speak properly, do a great interview, and that, I think the Toastmasters is exactly what most should do if they're out there looking for a job.
Well, you're exactly right, and part of that is, you need to be able to do something to exemplify yourself as one step better.
Right.
You've got to have
or
something.
Or just putting
else.
into yourself. Someone's going to see that you're making that effort to stand out. You're taking the time to go to a Toastmasters. Now, are the meetings, how long are they, and what kind of commitment would it take for someone to become active?
Well, you were asking a question about the book, and we do have a guidebook, and it's whatever pace the person wants to go. It's like 10 speeches. We call it a basic manual.
Okay.
And each one of the speeches that a person would give is a stair-stepping stone. It's one on top of the other. It's a building stone, building blocks, if you will, of first focus on this, get your message, you know, get your prepared message, prepare this, and then start adding gestures, start adding this, start adding that. And at the very end is give the most inspirational speech that you can think about. Any topic you choose, whatever you want to talk about, and then build that. So 10 basic speeches. But usually it's an hour program, an hour and a half. Many of the corporate clubs, because they're limited to lunch hour or some other function, they're limited with 1 hour. We have the meeting also in Toastmasters of the Lake meets in Mooresville, which is a new chapter. And they're an hour long, 11:45 to 12:45. You attended
Yes,
that one, I
was
believe.
one
And because we have limited hour presentation, you only usually get 2 speeches in there, and it's a little bit more limiting. But the other clubs usually have 3 speakers, 3 evaluators, and this thing I call table topics, the impromptu. And it's a blast. And it's very relaxing.
It's a very fun meeting, actually. It was very
are
enjoyable.
Nice.
Yes.
You see, what people sometimes think about when they get up and give a speech, they're focusing on me. Well, they're really not. People don't go to hear a bad speech. They want to hear somebody do a good job. And it's the same way with Toastmasters. We want to hear someone do the best they can, but we also have to say our responsibility is to help them. One thing better. One thing that you could do to improve this. So it's always about self-improvement. Now, if you apply that and say, that's how it should be with our entire lives, right? That's exactly.
Absolutely.
And that is exactly what it transfers to. What ends up happening, and Dr. Smedley started this organization in 1924, so the 85th anniversary is just a few days from now.
Wow.
85 years he's been doing this. He started in California with the idea that young men go into the YMCA in California. He said they're not getting their message across. Their heart's in the right place. They're just not able to communicate it well. So he started the organization in California. And now it's grown we've helped millions and millions. If you hear speakers talk, you get somebody like Wayne Dyer, you get Dennis Waitley. I can think of dozens and dozens. They will recommend. Zig Ziglar will say, you want to improve your life, you want to improve your ability to get a job, go to a Toastmaster club.
Well, I mean, I would think that persuasiveness, whether it's oral or written communication, is one of the most key skills to have for anything.
Absolutely.
Anything that you want to get in life, you have to be persuasive first in order to get there. So
I believe that.
It's definitely a great thing, and viewers can go to the website that you mentioned, and we also have the Toastmaster meetings on the Lake Norman events calendar on LKNSavings.com. So hopefully people will choose to get involved because it's a great thing.
Highly recommend it. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. I didn't go on too long.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Jen. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.